excited to get this started. We are starting our second Girlforce casual conversations with Annie and Angela with lots of guest speakers. And today's topic is Trailhead. Okay, so before we get started with introductions, I will be linking this slide, which is the safe harbor, just to make sure that people make their decisions on the current product, and nothing that we might say that's forward-looking, although I don't think that's going to happen tonight. My name is Annie Shek. I am a senior consultant with the Innovation Network. Been on the platform for about 5 years, have 3 certifications. Just to throw it in there, because of the topic being Trailhead, I have, how many badges? 14 badges thus far.
Yay!
Yay! And I volunteer as a Detroit user group leader, as well as the Women in Tech Detroit area user group leader. I'm going to pass the baton to Angela.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angela Adams. I'm the Director of Operations at Now It Matters. We are a nonprofit consulting firm for nonprofits using Salesforce. I've been on the platform since 2012. I have 3 certifications like Annie, and I am in the process of working Trailhead to my benefit to get certified for App Builder. I believe I have 16 badges. And I am currently working on 3 modules are open. Every time I go back, it's like you have 3 modules open, so I need to finish those up. I am active in Girlforce. I'm as a member of the Girlforce leadership team, and I'm a member of the education committee there, and help to plan certification study groups, office hours, and we're working on a new initiative for Skillshares coming up in 2016. Which we're looking forward to.
My name's Jessica Louttit. I'm in Michigan. I work for a nonprofit organization called the Veterans Workshop. We teach disabled veterans to become 201 admins. I began training in Salesforce just over a year ago and got my 201 admin certification and became the certified admin for the workshop. I've also got my 401 developer cert as well, and right now I'm really active on Trailhead trying to get as much experience as possible because I'm planning on taking my advanced admin certification as well. So I'm hoping to have that pretty soon here. I've got 54 badges right now on Trailhead, so I'm an advocate for it, and I'm obsessed with it, and I absolutely love it. So I'm very excited to be here and just share the love of Salesforce and Trailhead.
Good for you.
I know. Thank you. All right, and this is a very special event because we have a sister duo with us. Hilary, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Hilary Zarenejad. I'm a solution engineer at Salesforce, and I've been on the platform a few years and was on the customer side first and was the admin for a nonprofit and a for-profit, got 4 certifications, and then transitioned over to Salesforce and loving life over here, of course. So very excited for Trailhead, use it myself, love working in the area at Dreamforce and World Tours, and just love it, and really enjoy using it, and so excited to be here with all of you.
Great, thanks for joining us. And we have Cori.
Hi, I'm Cori O'Brien, and I work for IATS Payments. We're a credit card provider for nonprofit organizations, and we make the app Brickwork. I'm the product specialist for IATS, so I develop Brickwork, write all the documentation, train our company, etc. I am in the process of certifying for my admin, so I've been going through Trailhead. And I'm also a proud member of the Q4 Girlforce study group, so working through that to get my admin certification hopefully in January.
Exciting. Sweet. So Cori, are you in the same group with Angela for the study groups?
Well, yeah, but Angela is like
sort of facilitating.
Exactly. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. All right. So let's begin with our questions. So obviously this is a topic about Trailhead. And so being the students of Trailhead, how would you describe what Trailhead is, and your experience on the platform?
I'll go first. To me, Trailhead is an amazing tool that Salesforce provides to help customers and users of Salesforce increase their knowledge of Salesforce. And to me, it is just so amazing because it's a free service. And I've heard from a lot of people that it's unheard of for a tech company to provide this for free. They want the customers to succeed. They want the clients to succeed, and they're happy and willing to share with everybody. And it's however much you put into it is how much you're going to get out of it. And Trailhead is, to me, a one-stop shop. I mean, you can go there and learn anything that you'd like to know about Salesforce, and I absolutely love it.
I'll add, I just had a kind of funny story to talk about it too. I think I may have told Jessica about this. I was on the way to the airport last week, and I was in an Uber, and the Uber driver was, he's, in technology, but still figuring out his way, didn't know about Salesforce. So I'm like, hey, let me talk to you about Trailhead, right? So I'm talking to the Uber driver and explaining to him, and he's like, wait, there's free training, and you'll give me like this org for free to play with, and anybody can do it? I'm like, yes. And so the whole way we're talking about it, we get to the airport, I'm like demoing on my iPhone, like the apps you can build and components, and he's like, this is insane, and just so grateful, and just was so excited that he could actually, he could explore this other opportunity that he would have never even thought of, all for free.
That's amazing. Talk about spreading the love and giving opportunity to people who are either looking for a career change or just want to learn bits of technology. And I'll also add that I love that it's an educational platform at your pace. Yeah. So, I love Salesforce University, but, if you sign up for one of those, it is a 4-day intense training, whereas I know a lot of us who use Trailhead, when they have 30-minute lunches, they'll do a piece of the trail, or an hour a night, or even half of a day on the weekend. So it offers that flexibility. That they offer that flexibility that you don't get with more structured, strict training.
I agree. I used the help and training section of Salesforce for a couple of years, and it was just not really interactive. It wasn't enough. You watched the video and you could read your material, but I think one of the best parts of Trailhead, besides it being free, is how you are challenged directly within the course, within the module. You get to do the work, you practice the work, and then they actually grade you on the work. They access your dev org, they check your work, they'll give you an error if it's wrong, and they'll give you a reward if it's right. So it's a really addictive thing, which 54 badges, I only have 25, so I have a lot of catching up to do. But it's a great way to encourage you to learn.
For people who are just joining and maybe don't know what Trailhead is, just wanted to give a brief definition. So Trailhead is an online training system that Salesforce has developed that allows you to take targeted learning modules based on your topics of interest. So there are trails for non-bits, there are trails for salespeople, there are trails for Salesforce Lightning, and each of those is referred to as a unit, and the units have individual modules that you complete. And each module, I think, is about 30 minutes. Like, some of them are a little less, some of them are a little more. The idea is that it's a bite-sized piece of information. You can log in, take that training, go back to doing something else. I have some friends who will you take a lunch break, work on a Trailhead module, and then go back to work, just because it is something that you can complete relatively quickly. One thing that I love about Salesforce Trailhead, coming from my background in curriculum design, is that it's a blended learning experience. And so it's not just you reading text, like Cori had mentioned a couple of minutes ago. You have text-based learning, but then there are also videos in some of the modules, and there are hands-on training experiences where you build things, you're live and in the system, creating apps and designing data models, and it's just a really great, solid blended learning experience to enhance the learning and help with the retention of what you've learned. In terms of my favorite modules or projects on Trailhead, I was so happy when they released the nonprofit modules. So they released the modules on fundraising, and they're great. There are videos from the guys who I believe you're going to have to edit in the name, Annie. Cradles to crayons to something. I'll look it up quickly.
Cradles to crayons. Cradles to crayons.
Cradles to crayons. Okay, so the nonprofit starter pack modules feature cradles to crayons, and they're just excellent. And one thing I also love about Trailhead is the use of humor. So some of the answers are hysterical. It seems like every holiday there's a new badge. I can't wait for the Christmas one, and maybe there'll be a Hanukkah one too. There's just there's an excellent sense of humor from the folks who design it, which I find helpful because sometimes training can be a bit dull. So that's one of my favorite aspects of Trailhead.
Yeah, and I would add that the videos that they use in Trailhead are phenomenal. The one that you mentioned with Cradles to Crayon, I swear I was like on the verge of tears because of their mission and what they do and how Salesforce has impacted their organization. So, love it. Anyone else want to share what their favorite modules or projects are?
I find so many of them interesting. I like that I can challenge myself in certain areas that might be a little bit intimidating, doing the visual force pages and things like that. I always joke around that when I do one of those that is extremely challenging and has a lot of code and I finally get it right, I'm jumping for joy. I'm so excited. I'm like high-fiving myself. My husband's looking at me like, you're crazy. You're studying right now. What are you doing?
And you're like, no.
You don't understand what I just built. I did
I'm a developer.
Yes. So I love it.
Yeah, and I'll say for me, I've been doing the Lightning components, and I really enjoy that because that relates directly to what I'm doing. So if I want to show how you can have that contact list that they show in it, and you're having the images of your contacts and can quickly reference that contact list, and so some of those other modules in there that I found that really, I found that to be fun. And then also just another feature is that social feature. So versus some of the other training options, it's kind of fun that, after you complete that you have those social sharing options. So when I completed, I think it was like one of the Wave Analytics ones, I actually shared it to Facebook, which is really more personal, right? And like Jessica's one of, the few people on Facebook that gets it. And so it was kind of even fun to put in there like, Jessica, you're the only one that'll probably understand this, so just having that added value there.
I haven't shared it on Facebook yet, but I've tried Twitter. It's very good response to Twitter. I think I will share it with Facebook because I know a couple of people who are interested, who have kept on hearing Salesforce, and I'm sure they would be interested in seeing what it's all about. So I will try that.
Have you shared it on LinkedIn as well?
I've shared the badge. I don't know if there's a way to share it into my feed.
Yeah, I was talking about sharing the badges. I thought that was a neat feature.
Yeah. So let's transition to the next question, which is, how do you use Trailhead, whether or not that's for yourself or your company? And I'll start first. And one of my personal goals is to become knowledgeable in coding and just feeling comfortable and understanding how developers deal with the Apex in code so that I can work better with them. And then maybe in the long term, technical architect. But it's nice that the modules or projects provide the code and that they give you the samples to start off with. And then you can just paste it into the force.com IDE. And then what happens is if I ever stumble or I'm not sure, it's nice to have that code and just ask a developer, what does it mean? What is this trying to do? It's not that I'm starting from scratch and saying, how do I do X, Y, and Z? It's more of, here's a sample code. Can you help me break it down? I want to understand it a bit more. So that's, it's more for personal development for me.
Yeah, I'm definitely very similar to that as well. I'm primarily spending so much time on it because I want to increase my knowledge of Salesforce, my capabilities in Salesforce, really get a full view of all the functions that are available. And I also have it in the back of my mind when I am going through all of these, how would I incorporate that into my organization? So if I'm working through a module and there's a way that I can customize part of it and improve my org, more power to the module, and it just makes it that much more interactive for me. And I'm definitely on my way. I am passionate about trying to get my advanced admin certification, so feel that this is one of the best ways to do that as well and really get that hands-on. A lot of the testing questions are very hands-on. If you haven't actually done it, it's hard to just read about it and then answer a scenario-based question. So, on the same page.
Yeah. And you work at Veterans
Workshop?
Veterans Workshop. So, do you incorporate Trailhead into the curriculums for your constituents?
Yeah, we have quite a few different methods that we use, and we do encourage using Trailhead as well. And just tie it all in. Everyone has a different learning style, so we do a lot of quiz questions. We'll recommend to go to Trailhead. We have the videos that they watch, and just trying to accommodate every different learning style and round it all together so that everyone gets a full view of what Salesforce is, how they can use it, and learn it to the best of their ability.
Great. What about you, Cori?
Yeah, I started off using it for personal, for sure, so I could get my admin certification. But very quickly realized the power it has for training. I'm responsible for training our company on how to use Salesforce, and we're a fairly small company, but it's still quite a bit, and everyone learns differently, and there's a lot of foreign concepts inside Salesforce, and there's a lot of confusing things if you're not traditional, used to a CRM. So I've been using Trailhead to train our staff, and I started with our customer care department. And of course, there's no trail for us. We're a for-profit organization, but we work with nonprofits, so we have to understand both worlds. So I created a Word doc, and I created my own trails, and I just picked modules and added them to the trail. Pictures I kept with the comedy aspect of it because it is hilarious, and it's a hit. So all the new staff get it, and we're rolling it to different departments. So it's just such a great tool to get people to understand Salesforce. I hear so many things like, "Oh, that's why I do that." Like, yeah, okay. So they're really learning the basics, which is good. And then they can sort of take with it and run with it and do it at home if they want, but at least we're giving them a good base.
Awesome. I would say, as a consultant working with nonprofit clients, my next client, I am actually, I think maybe 3/4 in the way through the project implementation. I will slowly get them acclimated to the Trailhead modules because, the system admin, at least, just so that when I roll out, it's not the first time they're in the setup area looking at all of the admin tree or the developer tree. So definitely we'll be leveraging Trailhead to equip system admins before rollout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's critical, and I know we're going to get to this question, but I think it's such an amazing tool specifically for nonprofit organizations for that very reason. They don't have money for training, and they're maybe volunteers. And you could get somebody understanding the basics of Salesforce in an hour and a half, 2 hours at most, and at least they understand what they're getting into.
I was going to say, similar to what Cori and Annie have just, We have started to use Salesforce Trailhead internally for training our staff as well. We recently brought on a new hire, and it was great to be able to just create a list of these are the modules that I want you to complete,
Yeah.
and to know that if I needed to call on them, I could go find the badges and make sure that they had completed the training. We agree with you, Cori, that it's a real game changer for profits. We used to say to nonprofits as part of our explanation of Salesforce and why nonprofits need an implementation partner, we used to say that Salesforce is like a 747, right? And if someone were to give you an airplane, that's an awesome gift, but would you know how to use it? No. That's why you need an implementation partner who can come in and be your flight crew, get you trained, and help you start using the system. It's a huge game changer now. Nonprofits can use Salesforce out of the box with limited configuration that they can do themselves using Trailhead. There's definitely still space for implementation partners when it comes to configuration and increased training and apps and what have you, but for that first entry level, wanting to use Salesforce, get their feet wet, Trailhead, it just totally changes the game. And so we started this quarter with a couple of clients who were wanting to work with us but didn't quite have the budget for a more traditional project. And so we were able to, because of Trailhead, offer them a project that fit their budget, could stand up Nonprofit Starter Pack, get them a really excellent suite of training through using Trailhead for way less than it would have cost in the past. And, like you at IATS, we're a for-profit company, but we work in the nonprofit space. Those of us who work at Now It Matters are highly mission-driven, and so, we know that we need money, but we really love it when we can help our nonprofits get the solutions that they need to do the work that they enjoy and need to do. So it's we can't say enough about Trailhead and really do think that it's going to change nonprofit Salesforce use over the long haul.
It empowers them to do things themselves. They don't have to rely on other people. And not that they shouldn't. There's a lot of amazing things that they won't be able to do themselves. I mean, they just won't be able to. And so there's while it's changing, I do think it's very empowering for them. It's going to make them more efficient. It'll improve the way that they can raise money and complete their mission. And we hear it all the time from clients that call in, and they call us for Salesforce help because they know we'll help them with brickwork. But brickwork is a very small piece of their entire system, and so we often end up helping them with Salesforce too, because it's easy to call someone and someone's going to help you. And what we try and do now is really direct them to Trailhead, and you can learn all about this in this module, and hopefully it's working.
I would love to see a Dreamforce session on, like a panel of nonprofits that leverage Trailhead during their implementation to, kind of like, your client, Angela, how they were able to save money and also educate themselves using Trailhead and implement at the same time. That would be a fascinating panel session. Just planting seeds right now.
Yeah, it's been exciting to watch, frankly. We had some nonprofits who are willing to try it out. We're like, hey, this is a new idea. We think it'll serve you well, and it's gone great so far. Yeah.
And without naming names, in our study group, we have a member of our study group who hasn't even gone into production yet. So she's going through the entire Trailhead and study group process, and they haven't even gone live with their very first Salesforce org. So that's the level of commitment that this organization has, but it's also the ability for them to do it nowadays. You don't have to go through the old help section and try and figure it out and see what happens. There's so many resources out there that weren't there before, at least when I started.
And how great would it be to learn Salesforce for the first time in an org where you're not going to screw anything up?
Right. Exactly.
It's true.
All right. So the next question is, many of you have done many badges and used Trailhead for a while. I mean, I think it's launched. It's been 9 months since it's launched, I think, or a good amount of time since it's launched. Do you have a memorable experience using Trailhead?
It makes me harken back to playing Super Mario Brothers on the Nintendo when my mom would say it was time to quit and my response was, let me die first. I sort of have that same feeling, like when I'm working Trailhead and then I need to move on to something else. I'm like, oh, but I need to press the check challenge button. I'm almost there.
Yeah.
That's sort of what it conjures up for me.
Yeah, that's funny. I know how you feel. It's very addictive. So a lot of the times I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do one more challenge tonight and go through that one. I'm like, all right, I can do one more. And just, I want those badges, and I love that they do the special badges as well. I was fortunate enough to happen to, get other badges on those same days. So I have my Back to the Future one and Halloween. So I try and get on any of the dates that I think they might have those as well. And I would be curious to see if there is any sort of list of the specialty badges that you can only win on those particular days. But it's definitely
I think there was one that came out in the spring, the Catter badge.
I missed that one.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I know some people that did, and they gloat about it all the time.
I'm looking at my cats right now.
Well, and I think too, like Jessica mentioned it earlier, but it's just when you do, like you're so ready and you click the check and you get the red error box, right? Right, and it just says like, I don't remember what it was for for the components, but it's just like there's an error in some specific. You're nodding your head, Jessica. It was like the error in some specific line of that code in CSS, or it was something, and you're like, I keep changing it. What do you want me to do? And then, but being able to still search and luckily, find answers, else place, and then just, again, how excited. It's like, I got it. And so we're like, then my husband's like, what are you so excited about? I'm like, you don't understand. Like, my CSS styling finally works, and my my org now reflects correctly. He's like, whatever.
But you bring up a good point, the success community and the hub. There is, not only you have Trailhead, but you have the ability to get help and answers and questions. I've had a few, the validations and formulas one. I'm not a developer by any means, so I had to get some help at that one. I couldn't figure it out, and I kept getting the red error of death. That's what I call it. And I went right to the success community, the Trailhead group, looked for some responses, found the right answer. I guess that's kind of cheating, but it was far above my skill level. And then the Power of Us Hub, there's lots of people that post questions and stuff, so I think there's a great resource there.
There are folks that post questions on Stack Exchange too. So sometimes if you get stuck and you can't find something, Power of Us Hub or in the Success community, if you just Google it, you can find some folks on Stack Exchange who are sort of duking it out too. And I think that there's wisdom in finding resources. So I don't feel shame about that.
Google is
Thank you.
everything. Any other memorable moments?
First badge. First badge for sure. When you got that first badge, you're like, whoa, points too? Coins! And it really plays to the Mario, right? It does. It's just great.
Need a theme song.
They
do.
do.
A Trailhead theme song that plays like ding, 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 ding as your point tally up or something.
Yeah. I love the imagery too. The cartoon sort of nature of Astro and the camping and the tents. It's fun. When we were down at Dreamforce in the fall, they had a giant camp set up. I don't know however many of you were able to get down there. And it was like Candyland. It was like Disneyland for Trailhead. I got pictures taken everywhere, and you got to pick up badges, and I love the little physical badges. We need more of those.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And
I missed that.
I wonder what next year is going to look like for the developer zone, if they're going to stick with the camp theme or if it's going to be a little bit different. I'm curious.
Well, and I can say at the different world tours, so I was at the World Tour in New York, I think it was last month, and like you just mentioned at Dreamforce, it was like mini that. So it was nice. It was still that campground experience and everything that went along with it. And then actually, if you got a badge while you were there, then they had a special badge based off your IP address that you then got the Trailhead badge for being at the World Tour in New York. So if you can ever go to any of those world tours, yeah, they have a similar experience there.
They really know how to gamify Trailhead, that's for sure. They make you want more.
I'll share my recent memory. So I went to the Detroit Developer User Group, and I met someone completely brand new to Salesforce. Like, her first interaction with Salesforce is the Developer User Group. How brave. How brave of her, right? And so she was so determined. She had already researched Salesforce and Googled it. I think at her workplace they had been talking about technology classes, and Salesforce came up. And so she looked up meetup.com, found the meetup, showed up. I met her, and she was so enthusiastic. And I said, look, let me get you on board. And so another Salesforcer, Toya Gatewood, and I had a virtual meeting with the woman to get her on board and walked her through Trailhead. So that's my memorable moment. It was pretty awesome. And like, she was near tears just knowing that there was a free platform for her to learn on her own.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. So here's a tricky question. Is there anything about Trailhead that you would add or change or suggest to make it an even better experience?
I mentioned that we have some nonprofit clients who have started using Trailhead as part of our projects, and it's been tricky for them when they first log in to get the hang of needing essentially 2 orgs or 2 logins. So if they had a login previously, needing to set up a new login with a developer org has been a little bit tricky. There are resources out there directing people to how to do it. There are chatter posts, etc. But I think that when you're introducing someone to Trailhead, if you know that they have a Salesforce login already, just taking a minute or two to explain, yes, you'll need to set up a developer org. This is how you do it. This is what it's for. This is why it's important. Will really go a long way in staving off some of that initial confusion. And then the other thing that we've run into is, I ran into this personally actually, was logging in with a email address that I didn't really think through. I'm going to get like 100 million badges, and I'm going to want, this to be connected with my email address that is connected to LinkedIn and Twitter, etc. And so when you do begin taking the modules and accumulating your badges, make sure that it's with a login that's going to stay with you for a while. So a lot of people are suggesting to use a personal email address, something that you don't mind connecting up with social media. So those would be my 2 tips for getting started.
Those are really good tips. Yeah. We've had some of our agents earn half their badges on one user and the other half on the other, and we had to sort of combine the 2. It can be confusing when you don't quite understand what an org is, for sure.
My thought or suggestion, and this is me dreaming, is that as you're doing Trailhead, if it seems like you're going slower than normal, occasionally there's like this pop-up that shows, "Hi, I'm here to help. Do you have any questions for me?" That'd be so cool if there was someone to help, like a helper. Yeah, so anyways, that pop-up feature, that's just me dreaming. And the other one is, I think when someone's signing up, I don't think I saw this, but if there were additional steps on having someone click through the success community and joining some of the basic groups available, chatter groups on the success community, is key to other users and asking questions and everything. So
Yeah, I agree. Those are fantastic recommendations. You guys took all of my suggestions as well. Yeah, I would love the pop-up feature as well, particularly if you're stuck on a certain area. I was stuck on that same CSS style module, and it took forever. I constantly changed it. I checked everywhere I could. I'm like, it is right. And I ended up having to create a second developer account, and mine was just stuck. And so I've had a couple with that situation where I go back through, I know it's 100% right, but yet it's still prompting the error. So I just use my second, developer account, and, it'll verify it through that one.
Ooh.
So with mine, though, I've had that happen probably about 5 times. So
I think some of the newer ones, when they just released them, especially the developer ones or the Lightning ones, there were a couple bugs, that's for sure.
Yeah, Annie, you just made me think when talking about the whole pop-ups, that even in like the intern, because how there is so much joking and fun imagery on Trailhead, even like that little pop-up, a reminder somewhere like, hey, notice you're stuck here. You need some kind of motivation. So not necessarily that chat interaction, but more like, hey, what do you need to get going here, Jessica? Looks like you've been on here for 2 weeks on this one module.
Got it. Yeah, I like that. Motivational pushes or quotes. You can do it, or just do it.
I love how fun they make everything. Like you were saying before with some of the questions, I mean, I just crack up when, I think one of them, they were referencing Star Wars, and they were like, grab your lightsaber and attack it, or, something like that. And I'm like, I love the humor, and it just makes a huge difference. And it's fun. They make it fun, and to me, that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really want them to do, and I think they've posted in the hub that they might be doing it or working towards it, is allowing us to develop our own trails. So taking modules and kind of combining them into a custom trail that would only be visible to us when we log into it. I think that would be really, really neat to do.
Yeah, I was interested in that, Cori, because how I think you had mentioned earlier that if you're doing that yourself now, right? So you're making your customized trail in Word or whatever it is, and then distributing that, through Chatter, right? Through Chatter and attaching a file or something to everyone. But yeah, that's really interesting.
Can you demo that? Is that possible? Or at another time? It doesn't have to be now, but I would love to see how you handle it.
Yeah, sure. I posted the Word doc and the PDF in the Trailhead group on the hub.
Okay.
So I put it out there. So if anyone wants to take it and rebrand it for their own company, they can. And I've had a few people come back and show me their changes or what they've done with the doc and how they've kind of ran with it, and it's great. It's really great, and hopefully they can build us to have some sort of tool to do that. But until then, Word and Chatter.
Or even just we're talking about certs. I'm having to take, I'm sure like some of you take the app builder transition exam, and then trying to piece through different resources. So looking at the different, the different modules or trails, or what do I want to combine, and then recommend to others that, this is what can help you then to cover the areas for that transition exam.
Before we close, actually, and share a couple of upcoming events, can we just show off our Salesforce gear? Share where you got it from.
I love Salesforce gear.
Yes. So I will share mine first. I've got this Astro here and the Salesforce Developer hoodie, all from the. Actually, this one was from the Summer of Trailhead. Yeah, the Summer of Trailhead. And then I got the hoodie from Dreamforce. I think you had to get like 4 or 5 or 6 projects through. You had to go to the camp zone and get all of those trails, 6 of the 8 or 4 of the 8 done before you got this and the big Astro.
The thing from Dreamforce right here.
Yes, that was it.
It was so fun.
I didn't have my computer, so unfortunately I couldn't do any of the mini hacks, so I wasn't able to get a hoodie. But I got this lovely shirt from you, Annie, at our Detroit user group meeting. You won it.
Yes.
So I was very excited about that. I definitely love my Salesforce swag.
I did not wear Salesforce gear today, but I have my trusty water bottle.
There we go.
I almost
There we
grabbed
go.
mine too.
What are you wearing, Cori?
I should have brought more swag. I put on the T-shirt. I actually had my Girlforce T-shirt on, represent, but then I switched it out. I've got this one, which is from Dreamforce.
Yep. Remember that.
And it's the super cool, like full raccoon thunderbolt fighting dude. Don't quite understand how it relates to Astro.
I love that one. I haven't seen that one before.
It's a good one, right? It's really good. Yeah, yeah.
And then Hilary has the special limited edition T-shirt that I want to buy from her.
We'll talk.
Explain.
We'll talk later. Yes. So this was the Trailhead shirt from Dreamforce that they handed out for basically employees working in that campground there. And for me, it was so much fun because I worked in the Internet of Things area. So I'm pointing like this to the right. So for those of you that remember, they had the cabin over on the right-hand side and all the connected devices. And I got to work at the foosball table that was connected, if anybody got to play foosball. So yes, it was awesome. So basically showing how that foosball was connected with Salesforce and Game of Fine, showing the scores, everybody that played over the week. And so that was a lot of fun working in that area and getting the T-shirt. So.
All right. Any final words? If not, we can go take a nice sleep. Ready for tomorrow.
My final word would just be final word. If you have not joined the Trailhead group and the Power of Us Hub and the Success community, just to stay in the know on all of the things Trailhead, that is where you can find out about events that are coming up, new badges, all kinds of information from people who have gone before you on the trails. So that is final note. Join those groups.
Yes. And thank you, everyone, for joining this chat and sharing your wisdom and having fun.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Thanks.
Good night. Thanks so much for having us.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Talk to you soon.